Good morning. Well, I guess now it's afternoon, but I started in this room in the morning, Governor.
I know. Sorry about that.
That's right.
That's on me.
That's right. So I want to welcome all of you, but I have to say this. This is my house, but it's not my party. All right? And I don't have to tell you who the party is. It's the governor's party, right? And so I'm humbled when I received a phone call from the governor's office wanting to use the Enterprise Center. It was really special because as I think about this moment, and it's very historic, that this is what this place was built for. And many of the people standing behind me, Senator Hughes, Congressman Evans, and many of the elected officials in this room was a part of this project. And I am honored to stand on the shoulders of so many entrepreneurs. So if you're an entrepreneur in this room, will you stand up? If you have your own business, stand up. And today is not about all of us. Today is about all of you who stood up, because we know what it takes for you to succeed. It takes contracts, it takes capital, and it takes resources for you to build capacity to be successful. And so today is really the first step of that formula, which is bringing contracts to the table. And I'm working on capital. The governor doesn't know this, but I've become a capital revolutionary. And I am going to break down the walls of the capital markets that haven't opened up the doors for small and diverse leaders to be able to get access to not only credit, but get access to equity that will help them grow further faster. And that is very important for our city, our region, and our state, for us to think about more about capital. Because I often say now when I go speak is that low wealth communities get program dollars and prosperous communities get investment capital. And I'm planning to change that as a revolutionary. And I'm trying to recruit Charmaine Medlock-Turner. So I would like for some of you guys to work with me on Charmaine. And so it is an honor to recognize some of our guests in the room today. And I'm not going to call everyone's name, but I'm going to call a few. I'd like Senator Hughes, raise your hand. Right here. Oh, right here. Rep Rick is what we call him. He's our rep for this area. Congressman Dwight Evans. Is Speaker McClinton in the room? Okay, she's not here. And I would like to recognize one of our stakeholders at the Enterprise Center who has been helping the Enterprise Center with its capital needs, and I'd like to recognize the president of TD Bank, Jeff Brandon. He has been and so with all the other elected officials in the room, please stand up. Thank you for coming, and we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here today. And so before I introduce the governor, Governor, before you leave today, I do have a to-do list for you.
I figured. I'm ready.
Yes, I do.
Chill, Della. Chill.
Well, the entrepreneurs in the room, Senators, would be remiss, and I would get phone calls if I did not speak for them and ask for them. And that is because we really have tried to address their problems in a lot of different ways. But what I have learned in my years, and I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, because I actually thought that you could train away the pain points of entrepreneurship and small businesses without capital. I thought you could cohort it away and you could incubate it away. What I've learned is that when you are going through the development stages of your business, which all of you who stood up know this, when you need capital and when you need contracts, there's no substitution. And there's no 9-week program that can solve that problem. There's no 16 weeks. And so what I ask us to do today, to the entrepreneurs in this room, build your balance sheet, go back into your office and look at your assets, If your assets are low and your liabilities are high, you need to come back here, all right? If you're sitting here thinking that a loan is a substitute for revenue, you need to come back here, all right? And if you don't know how to grow an organization to be successful and you think you could do it by yourself, you need to come back here. So I say to the entrepreneurs in this room that the governor would not have come here today, or these elected officials, if they wasn't willing to help. But you have to take the first step by coming to the table with a balance sheet, income statement, and knowing the direction you want to go for us to help you get there. And I stand here among all of the friends and stakeholders of the Enterprise Center. We're committed to help you if you help us. So thank you. Wait a minute. So the governor came here the Saturday before the election. And he danced on this stage, and he ran up and down the stage.
Dance might be an overstatement. I moved a little.
But I am delighted, because when he came here that Saturday, he was not governor. But I am honored today that he is governor, and welcome to the Enterprise Center.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Clark. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Clark. I said I'd be back, and I gave you my word, and I'm back today to make a critically important announcement. I wanted to be here at the Enterprise Center to make this announcement today because of the rich history and tradition and hard work that's gone into building this place up, how many people they've helped along the way. And I think it's important for an initiative that is going to have a statewide impact that it be shared with all of you here today at the Enterprise Center. And so I want to say to you, Della, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the kind words of introduction and giving us this platform to make these critically important announcements today about our small businesses and our small diverse businesses all across Pennsylvania. I can promise you one thing: I will not dance on this stage today. You don't want to see that. But I can tell you we've got a great group assembled here. I'm thankful for so many elected leaders who are with us today, who made the effort to be here, including leaders like Jordan Harris, the head of the Appropriations Committee. That's who you want to talk to, by the way. Yeah. And I want to say, I know there's a lot of leaders here that made an effort. I saw Representative Cephas in Pittsburgh yesterday, and she's here today. There is a lot of leadership in our General Assembly from not just Philadelphia, but from all across our region who care deeply about this. You're going to hear from your local elected leaders who represent the Enterprise Center, but it's not lost on me how many folks have assembled here from the Senate and the House, and I'm grateful to all of you for being with us today. You know, for 35 years, this place, the Enterprise Center, has been a hub of opportunity in this region, helping thousands of entrepreneurs and small businesses realize their dreams. This is a place that has helped assemble, build, and then project out those dreams all across our community. What this place means to me is it's a place that gives people a shot at success in our communities. And it also has the positive impact of growing our economy and strengthening our communities. As I've traveled all across this Commonwealth over the last number of years, as your Attorney General, as a candidate for governor, during our transition, and now as your governor, I spend a whole lot of time listening to people. I think it's important to show up in a community and not have all the answers or not do all the talking, but to show up and listen. And I've heard from all of you that we need to make sure that we give people a shot in this Commonwealth, grow our businesses, and create more opportunity. Many of the entrepreneurs here and others in other parts of this Commonwealth have told me about how they've built successful businesses, but they've also told me how it's still too hard to compete for state work, the sort of work that government's looking for that you're set up to do, but there's too many barriers to entry. You've told me how the process is just too darn difficult, too confusing. You feel like it's too hard to compete against some of the big businesses out there who just seem to win those contracts again and again and again. You've told me, and I've heard you, when you've described to me how you feel as though the deck is just stacked against you. I heard you, and I want you to know I get it. And I appreciate the fact that over so many years, you've shared that truth with me. We're here today to talk about how we're going to remedy it. I know that has been especially true. Those challenges, that feeling that the deck is stacked against you, it's been particularly true for our women-owned and minority-owned and veteran-owned businesses that are out there. And I believe we need to do a lot more in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to help our small and diverse businesses compete for our state dollars. We need to take concrete action, not just words, but concrete action that is going to level the playing field and help those businesses compete and succeed here in the city of Philadelphia and all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I believe that's going to require policies like those I'm announcing today, and that's an important part of it. But it's also important to make sure that we have a governor who gives a damn about making progress. And I'm here to tell you again, I do give a damn, and I want to make that change so that more people have an opportunity to succeed here in the Commonwealth. I also believe that our collective progress will be even stronger when more businesses, more entrepreneurs like so many of you here today are included in that effort. I want you to know I'm not here today just because I think this is the right thing to do, which it no doubt is. I'm here today because this is the smart thing to do. Let me explain what I mean. By supporting our small, diverse businesses, we'll not only grow our economy and strengthen our communities, but we're going to create more competition in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We're going to secure better quality products, and we're going to secure better prices for the taxpayers of Pennsylvania. That's why this executive order that I'll sign right here at the Enterprise Center in just a few moments is so important. Now, we got to take a half step back to understand where we've been so we know where we want to go. I know that under my predecessor, Governor Wolf, we made some real progress in Pennsylvania. We expanded opportunities for small businesses in state government contracting. Consider this, between 2016 and 2023, the Commonwealth increased the amount of state dollars going to small, diverse businesses from 5% to 11%. That's important progress that needs to be recognized. That 6% increase represents hundreds of millions of dollars that went to new leadership and a commitment to, pushing ourselves to do better. We can actually make this system work better. We can actually make our system more equitable. It is possible. So for those who tell you it can't change, we know that change can come. We've just got to be committed to that sort of change. My administration is here today, and we'll be here in the days and months and years to come to build on that progress that we've already made. With today's announcement, we're ready to take it to the next level, to create more competition, support small and diverse businesses, and give more people the opportunity to build generational wealth for themselves and for the communities that they live in. Over the past 7 months, Secretary McNeil, who leads the Department of General Services and came from the city of Philadelphia, where he did a similar job in the Philadelphia School District, has already taken important steps to improve our process. Here's just one example. Well, in Pennsylvania, before you can apply for a state contract, your business needs to be certified by the Department of General Services. I see many of you nodding your heads. You understand that process. You understand that DGS verifies that a business can actually do the job they're hired to do and ensure that the tax dollars are being spent appropriately. That's an important part of the process. The problem is it just took too darn long in order to get certified in the past. It would oftentimes take about 3 weeks, which would knock people out of competition. Today, under Secretary McNeil's leadership, we have reduced that time by 33%. It takes just under 10 days now to get certified in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Another example of Secretary McNeil's leadership and the commitment of the Shapiro-Davis administration is that we have also put in place something known as a prompt pay policy that requires prime contractors to pay their subs within 10 days of receiving payment from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I heard from so many contractors across Pennsylvania, most recently in a conversation we had in Pittsburgh, that they often didn't even want to compete for state work because it would take too long to get paid, and they didn't want to float that kind of capital, or they couldn't float that kind of capital. I'm here today to tell you we have already fixed that under Secretary McNeil's leadership. Ensuring that contractors get paid promptly will help by providing them with the consistent revenue and the certainty that they need to be able to pay their employees, grow, and succeed. This is the basic blocking and tackling of governing that we now do in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to make our systems work. We're also working far more quickly in the Commonwealth, reforming our permitting process, which is helping small businesses and others. Consider just one point of information. The day I took office, it took 8 weeks to get a business license in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Today, it takes just 3 days to get that same license. We are making real progress. And now today, with this executive order, we're going to take new steps, in addition to what Secretary McNeil has already done, to help more small and diverse businesses compete for state contracts and ensure that Pennsylvanians can receive the highest quality goods and services from the Commonwealth. Let me break this down for you. First, we will increase opportunities for small, diverse businesses to secure prime contracts. Here's how we're going to do it. We know that these are the highest revenue-generating contracts the Commonwealth offers, but too oftentimes they go to big businesses. Consider this for a moment. Our neighbors in the South, the state of Maryland, a state with a population less than half the size of our great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, well, they set aside $448 million in prime contracts exclusively for small businesses. Pennsylvania, by contrast, only sets aside $42 million for prime contracts to small businesses. We are missing opportunities to incorporate our small businesses into our shared prosperity, which holds them and really all of us back. We must do better. With small businesses representing 99% of all the businesses in our Commonwealth, it just makes good sense to include them more in our contracting efforts. That is why I've directed Secretary McNeil to work with our entire cabinet to increase participation in the Small Business Reserve Program so we can give more prime contracts to more small businesses. And because you need to hold us accountable to this, under this executive order, we will now publicly post data every 6 months in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania on how many prime contracts are going to small businesses so we can increase transparency and increase accountability. We've got a lot of work to do, but we're going to make progress. Second, this executive order that I will sign in just one moment will allow more small businesses to qualify for our small business programs. We can do this by doing 2 specific things. Number 1, raising the revenue cap for small businesses, and number 2, increasing the cap on small business employees. Let me explain. Inflation has gone up, but our revenue cap hasn't increased in Pennsylvania since 2018. That means some small businesses have simply been priced out of the market, not because they have grown, but because prices have gone up. Today, that will change. Under this executive order, Secretary McNeil will have the power to adjust that revenue cap to meet the reality that small businesses all across Pennsylvania are facing when doing business with our Commonwealth. To start, into opportunities for prosperity. But there's a second thing that needs to be done. We have got to raise the cap on employees. Only the General Assembly can do that, though, and I know we have many friends here who are committed to this work. The General Assembly can pass legislation to update the definition of who is considered a small business to match the federal Small Business Administration's guidelines. Think about it. Under Pennsylvania law, a small business is considered a business 100 people and under. But for the federal government, it's 500 people or less. So we're basically putting our small businesses at a disadvantage when they compete here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I can't change that part under the executive order, but I'm hopeful that the members of the General Assembly who are here working with their colleagues in Harrisburg will work on doing just that. And of course, I respectfully don't have to ask this crowd because I know they're supportive, but ask them to work with their colleagues in Harrisburg that need a little bit more education on this to make sure that we can increase that cap. Those are the first two things we're going to do. Here's the third thing we're going to do in this executive order. For the first time in the Commonwealth's history, my administration will develop and execute on a comprehensive interagency strategy to support small diverse businesses. That strategy is a direct result of the listening sessions that myself, our new proud papa, the Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Austin Davis, and Secretary McNeil have engaged in over the last 7 months. This is what we've heard from small businesses all across Pennsylvania, from DGS to PennDOT, led by Secretary Mike Carroll, who you'll hear from in a moment, to the Department of Community and Economic Development, to the Department of Banking and Securities. Commonwealth agencies will now work together to provide more support for those who want to work with us. Let me explain a little bit further what that means. It means developing trainings on the financial tools available to small businesses, creating mentoring programs to connect business owners with state contracting experience to those who are just starting out who need some guidance, and establishing wraparound business assistance to connect folks doing business within the Commonwealth to tools and services that can help them strengthen their companies and compete for more small businesses, more small business opportunities. Della was right. It's not about just simply providing a program. It's about making sure there's access to capital. And we know that there have been too many barriers. This seeks to remedy that and rectify that historic wrong and make it a right going forward to help more people. I want you to know that there are so many people in this room. I thank you for educating us. And I want you to know we listened to you. We heard you when you said you needed these types of initiatives to make sure that we had more competition in this Commonwealth. We listened to those business owners and entrepreneurs who said they just need a little bit of help, and that we'll be there for you with resources and technical assistance that you need, and we're here today to make sure that that commitment comes through. The fourth and final aspect of this executive order establishes a new advisory council that will be chaired by Lieutenant Governor Davis and made up of key members of my administration. In addition to that, business owners and community leaders will be present on this new advisory council. They will make sure that they build on this executive order that I'm signing today and make recommendations on future policies that will help enhance the progress that we will make. Look, there's obviously a lot more work to do, and this advisory council will ensure that we keep on listening and that we keep making progress. As I said at the beginning of this, we can do more to support small, diverse businesses across Pennsylvania. And it will take policies and executive orders and new laws to do that. But, as I said before, it's also going to take a governor and an administration that gives a damn about making progress. And I do. Throughout my campaign, I regularly heard from small business owners about the challenges they face when they are competing for government contracts. And after I took office, you helped us put some more meat on those bones, which led us to today. This is government listening to the good people of Pennsylvania and responding in a way that's going to lift up all of us and help us all make change. This is a big step toward fulfilling the commitments that we made during the campaign, during our transition, and during our first few months in office. This is also about changing not just the way we do business in Pennsylvania, but the way we think about doing business in Pennsylvania. This is not a program or a handout. This is not an opportunity just for the people in this room. This is an opportunity for all of Pennsylvania to do better, for all of Pennsylvania to thrive, for all of us to be more competitive. That is what today is all about. More competition, more people with skin in the game, more opportunities to build generational wealth, more opportunities to address some of the systemic issues that plague our communities, from violence to a lack of opportunity. That's all wrapped up in this effort that we're announcing here today. I want to thank you for welcoming me here today. I want to thank you, Della, for your leadership. And now I want to bring up Secretary McNeil, who's playing a leading role in helping us advance real progress and real change here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Thank you all very much.
So I don't know about you, but I think I heard my name about 12 times in the governor's speech. Was no pressure at all. So thank you, Governor, for those kind words and setting us in the right direction on what we're doing with this EO today. My name is Reggie McNeil. I'm the Secretary of General Services. Glad to be here. Today I stand before you to enthusiastically present the executive order and reiterate the Commonwealth is truly moving at the speed of business. Since day one of this administration, Governor Shapiro has prioritized the need to improve the experience that Pennsylvanians have in small business communities and widen the gate of opportunity to state contracts. And upon my arrival to the department, I immediately consulted the Bureau of Diversity, Inclusion, and Small Business Opportunities, also known as BDSBO, on what DGS can do to get started. With the incredible leadership and guidance from our Deputy Secretary, Carrie Kirkland, who is not here today, unfortunately, Director Lisa Sanford, and the rest of the BDSBO team, DGS has created meaningful changes for our small, diverse, and veteran businesses in just 7 months. You heard the governor speak of some of those accomplishments that we were able to realize in the past 7 months, but I'm going to reiterate them. I'm going to say them again because they are important. We reduced the time it takes for us to certify our small businesses by 33%. We have implemented a prompt pay for non-construction prime contractors to pay all their subcontractors within 10 days after receiving payment in the Commonwealth. We created a marketing and business recruiting plan with an emphasis on small businesses and outreach by partnering with Chamber of Commerce, small business administrations, and also the veteran organizations and other stakeholders. And BDSBO is planning its first Small Business Empowerment Summit. It's going to be huge, and that's going to happen next month in Harrisburg. If you haven't heard about it, I don't know what's going on because our team has been out there hitting the streets hard, and you all should know about this event. It'll be an opportunity to collaborate and interact with Commonwealth agencies like PennDOT, elected officials, vendors, and other small businesses. So we are really moving at the speed of business. So DGS, we understand that there are still barriers that exist in connecting small businesses to Commonwealth contracts. The executive order will allow us to continue strengthening our communication with small business communities, our training opportunities, and ultimately increase access to state contracts. So in the 7 months, BDSBO has been out in the Commonwealth engaging with stakeholders. We've held 18 statewide stakeholder events, and we've contacted at least 800 small businesses. And I have personally met with countless potential vendors and partners in all corners of the state to engage the small business community with Commonwealth opportunities. Folks, we are serious about this. We are changing a culture, and it's going to take a lot of hard work to do it, and we're here for that work. I have also held countless meetings with those vendors, and based on the feedback that we have received from these interactions, I am certain that this new executive order is going to fill many gaps for our small businesses. I am thankful for the attention that the Shapiro-Davis administration has placed on this effort. I look forward to serving the Pennsylvania Advisory Council for Inclusive Procurement, also known as the PAICIP. So we just came up with that.
We're open to any other name.
So I'll serve as a co-chair with Secretary Carroll and other agency secretaries to reinforce our small business reserve program and connect businesses with other services. Thank you all for joining us today and supporting these critical changes for our small businesses. Actions like this will continue changing the narrative around doing business with the Commonwealth and build up Pennsylvania's small business community. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to Secretary Carroll.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Carroll. I'm the PennDOT Secretary. Thank you, Secretary McNeil, and I'm thrilled to be back in Philly with Governor Shapiro and the other members of our administration. to announce this wonderful executive order. It's no secret at all that the Shapiro administration is totally committed to growing Pennsylvania's economy and creating opportunity for everyone in this Commonwealth. And our transportation infrastructure is a critical vessel in supporting this Commonwealth's economy. To have a successful economy and a successful transportation system, we need robust participation, and an opportunity for every business, especially small businesses and small, diverse businesses. I'm honored to serve on the Advisory Council for Inclusive Procurement with the Lieutenant Governor, Secretary McNeil, Secretary Siger, Acting Secretary Spiker, and Secretary Walker, the administration. We will ensure that our small businesses and our small, diverse businesses have the resources and state government support they need to succeed. I look forward to working with Secretary McNeil and to engage businesses and ensure partnerships are in place to provide technical assistance so they can compete for state contracts, including financial assistance programs, and to make it easier to do business with the Commonwealth. And to fostering our interagency work group between PennDOT and DGS to execute this critical work. To meet the transportation demands of today and of tomorrow, the Shapiro administration's work to expand opportunities available to Pennsylvania small, diverse businesses will be critical in creating more economic opportunity for everyone. I'm proud to be a part of this and our continuing efforts to deliver for Pennsylvanians. PennDOT does not just build roads and bridges. PennDOT builds communities, PennDOT builds businesses, PennDOT will build small, diverse business success. And now I'm thrilled to turn the podium over to my friend, Congressman Dwight Evans.
Thanks, Dwight. Thank you. Well, I want to say good afternoon, and it is absolutely my pleasure to add my voice to the governor's leadership on this issue. This is not a new issue to any of you. This is an issue I worked when I was in the legislature. And the governor is just demonstrating the kind of leadership that he has shown all of us, what it means to work together, and the message of opportunity. It is something that we should build upon with the things that we have already been doing. And I say that because this governor, this is not new to him. And I thank him for this leadership. And I thank him for all of the people with him. As you know, in Washington, D.C., with a gentleman named President Biden, this is a very important issue. So what the governor is doing is building on something that we are demonstrating in Washington, D.C. So, Governor, thank you for your leadership. That is a doing it at this particular location where Governor Bandstand used to be. A lot of people have, and I say that, and Della Clark. Something to do with the members up here and some of my colleagues, because these used to be my colleagues. These are people who want to do the right thing. So I want to thank you. And I want to then turn it over to someone who is not a stranger, is the power of the appropriation. Stop it, man. The power of the appropriation. Vince Hughes. Vince.
What's up, family? How we doing? How we doing? How's everybody doing? Della, thank you for having air conditioning. It is 100 degrees outside, certified. All right. Let me acknowledge the presence of my colleagues, Senator Sharif Street, the substance from the governor and his two cabinet secretaries about what we are signing today. In many respects, this is about following through with a commitment. In many respects, this is about bold leadership. Before he was governor, we sat in several quiet rooms for extended periods of time. Not just, you know how sometimes in campaigns the candidate will give you 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you know, I got to go on to the next stop and what have you. Council President, you know how we've had to deal with that. But at least a good hour and a half, at least, we talked about this very issue. We talked about the power of the administrator. Dwight, Charmaine, you know what I'm talking about. The power of the administrator to make sure that when we talk about diversity, it actually happens. And the administrator, in this case the governor, has that power. But he's got to send a message. We talked about a little bit of history, and there's not too many people in this room who remember some of this. I see Attorney Mike Jackson, I see Lynn Thomas, Lorraine Killian, who used to be my gatekeeper in Harrisburg. Okay. Charmaine, there was a guy by the name of Bob Casey Sr. And in those days, we had a program, it still exists, called PNBDA. That's right. And all of the minority businesses were directed to PNBDA to get loans. Then you'll remember this. But the then governor, the person who processed the state loans, was like one team, one small team. Joe, man, you remember this. And they processed all the loans for every transaction in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Every loan. And the PNBDA loan requests always were at the bottom. Always were at the bottom. They never made it to the top to get processed. Bold leadership. Call Governor Casey. Gov, you got to do something to deal with this. Hired an African-American law firm to go in and pull all of those loans out from the bottom of the pack and get them processed to the top. That's bold leadership. That's bold leadership. There would not be a WRD and Lomax empire, if you will, without Bob Casey and then Secretary John White Jr. awarding the first Medicaid managed care contract to an African-American firm. And see what that has done. That's bold leadership. That's bold leadership. And here we have, with Governor Shapiro, another step in bold leadership. Not only did he just come back to West Philadelphia to talk about these things, but he's coming back and delivering on those conversations that we had. So we thank you, Governor, collectively, and this whole room thanks you collectively. For sticking to it. And the message here is, let's keep it going, but the message here is to our friends in the private sector, follow the lead. Step up. Yep. Do the same. Yep. Because my goodness, if it can happen in government, it can happen in other places. So thank you for on behalf of everybody. And there's so many names, so many persons in this room that I could call off that I won't. But we're all, thank you for stepping up. And this being the first major step in your administration to make significant transformation for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And that should suffice for whatever Blaine Stoddard is going to hit you up for at some time, all right? If I can now bring my colleague forward, the state representative for the district that we reside, State Representative Rick Rajewski. Rick?
Thank you, everyone. When these events always happen, I'm always like, please don't put me after Vince Hughes. Please, whatever you do not put me after Vince Hughes. But I'm going to try my best. Good afternoon. I am Rick Rajewski. I have the honor and privilege of representing the 188th District right here in West Philadelphia. I'm so grateful to have the district that has the headquarters of the Enterprise Center. However, we all know that the influence and leadership of the Enterprise Center extends far beyond the 188th district. I see a lot of my colleagues here, Representative Derisha Parker, Representative Carol Kazim, Representative Greg Scott, Representative Anthony Belmont, Representative Morgan Cephas, Representative Almond Brown. Am I missing? Okay, we got this. Sorry. Bullock was here, Representative Bullock, Representative Jordan Harris. See, this is why I don't want to go last. Representative Nancy Gentz. I'm blanking out. Representative Heather Boyd, Malagary, Joe Hohenstein, and a bunch of others. I'm going to stop before I embarrass myself any further. But we're all here gathered, right, because we know the importance of this initiative. We know the importance of our governor and our administration investing in local Black and brown businesses. Which is the 52nd Street. Have had the wisdom and vision to bring the investment to the 52nd Street corridor in the way that it deserves. And myself, walking up and down those blocks, I can tell you that I can see the difference. I can see the small business community, the vibrancy that is coming to us here in West Philadelphia. We have holiday pop-up shops with local artisans, right? We have new hip brunch spots. And actually just the other day, Senator Hughes put me on to a new ice cream spot called Black Ice. It looked pretty good on Instagram, so I might have to go, as he mentioned, it's a hot day outside, so we might have to go patronize Black Ice after this. And I mention these things because I believe they illustrate why our administration prioritizing our local Black-owned businesses is so important. Governor Shapiro and Lieutenant Governor Davis have come to Philly countless times to see the vibrant, diverse economy that we are building here. And I know they are clear that when we bring funding and resources to neighborhoods like ours, the economic benefits are exponential. I believe we can do as legislators is point people in the right direction. So I'm grateful to Governor Shapiro and our department secretaries for making it easier for me to facilitate those state connections, and I look forward to working with the folks right here in our community to put those good dollars to good use. Thank you.
All right. We got some paperwork we got to do. So I'm going to invite everybody who's up here to join me as I sign this executive order. And I'd also like to invite the members of the General Assembly who have been seated to join us as well. And then I'm happy to take some questions after. Come on, folks.
Yeah, everybody gets a little tighter so you're...
I just see Della right next to me.
All right.
All right. Did they still give me these signs here? It's like I can't figure this out. Can you believe that, Council President? All right. Reps, you in? You good?
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
Yay.
That's for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It is. All right. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You folks have any questions in the media? Senator Hughes is going to answer them. Go ahead. We'll take a couple.
WHYY News, is there a percentage set aside for minority and small women-owned businesses in the state as sort of a goal? If so, what is it? If not, why?
We've raised the capital to include more resources going to small businesses. We're increasing the amount of dollars to have more small businesses qualify. Hopefully lawmakers will increase that cap on employees so more will be able to compete. So we're setting aside more resources. We're going to qualify more folks. And then we're going to make sure that all of the focus and efforts through DGS and throughout our administration are focused on bringing more small businesses and small diverse businesses into the mix and providing public reports every 6 months to track the progress we've made. Here's what I don't believe in. I don't believe in standing up in front of all these folks here and putting out a number that is a BS number just designed to make people feel good. I believe in tangible results, and that's what we're going to deliver with this policy, and you're going to be able to hold us accountable throughout this process.
So as of late, there have been a lot of I guess, bolstering of youth deciding that they want to get into entrepreneurship relatively early. Will there be any money put aside for kids?
For any,
For youth wanting to get into entrepreneurship relatively early.
We've put, thanks to the bipartisan budget that passed, a lot more resources into public education, the highest amount of funding ever for our public schools in Pennsylvania. In addition to that, a lot more resources for VOTEC, CTE, the kind of financial literacy and planning that schools can do. Those are going to be questions to the superintendents across Pennsylvania to determine how they want to invest those resources. I think financial literacy and preparing to be business leaders and entrepreneurship is critically important. I want to see more of that in our public education system in Pennsylvania. And thanks to so many of the members up here, we now have the resources to be able to do just that. Thank you. Hold the other side of that. I didn't like that either.
We're going to beat Maryland. That's right.
All right. Thank you all very much.